Hey, what's up, everyone? Happy Friday. Looking at this Friday slate, we have a nice slate today. It is looking a little chalky just based on the players that are out and the mispricing that both sites have done, but I'll still touch on the slate and break it down nonetheless. Yesterday, as soon as the Pistons announced that uh, Christian Wood was coming off the bench, I did not trust the minutes for him, so got off of him, especially with his high price tag. And I also got off of Derrick Rose just because I had some extra salary left over, and that worked out pretty good as they got blown out. And nobody really hit value except for Bruce Brown on the team, but kept you guys updated, posted some updates as always after the Wood news as well. So make sure you guys follow on Twitter, especially if you are a member on the website, because I do update on Twitter and then I update the site. But I always announce on Twitter. And, if you got the updates, you're looking great right now because we have Fox and Covington to go, and we have the core plays, and we have Adebayo in there. So everybody's has a flame next to their name right now. So looking to keep it. Draftkings should be an easy win. Don't have to sweat that. Fanduel, we'll see how it goes. Don't have Adebayo there, but you still have a lot of players coming up in the last couple games. So post the results on Twitter in the morning if you're interested. But looking to keep it going today. You can drop a like down below, subscribe if you have not already. Make sure you follow on Twitter for updates. And let's get into it here. Point guard. It is a pretty large slate, but there's only a couple teams that I'm really, really focused on right now. It's easy to just stack a couple of teams on the slate just with the injuries and just the mispricing, especially the Blazers. Damian Lillard is out, and DraftKings did not price their guys appropriately. The best play at point guard is going to be a cheap play, which we'll get to. Another piece of news is Elfrid Payton news. It's a tough matchup against the Pacers, but if he's out, that will at least open up a little bit. But really, it's tough, and also Kemba's out, so that's going to make the Celtics, Jalen Brown look good, Tatum look good, and Smart look good as well. Hayward looks good, but he's pretty expensive compared to Brown and Smart. But the guy at point guard is definitely going to be Simons here. He's only 3,500. It makes absolutely no sense why he's 3,500. He should start. Even if he doesn't start, he should see good minutes off the bench. But I'm expecting him to start in place of Lillard. They should roll out Simons, McCollum, Ariza, Anthony, and Whiteside. Maybe they put Trent in there, but I still think Simons is still going to get good minutes either way. He played 28 minutes, even though Lillard played a full game. He was solid. At 3,500, he's just too cheap not to consider. He should be a pretty core play, personally, especially. We probably won't get the news if he's starting or not, but either way, he should be a pretty core play in a matchup against the Pelicans. So Simons is looking really, really good. Other guys that I'm looking at are CJ McCollum at 66, obviously another guy that I'm going to get to at shooting guard. Victor Oladipo is okay. He's priced at 6,400. The only good news is that he's not on a limit anymore, but greatly prefer McCollum. If you want some tournament pivots, you could play SGA at a cheap price tag at 6,400. But really, I just want to get the Blazers in here at point guard and shooting guard just because they're so cheap. And that's going to start with Simons, 3,500. Over at shooting guard, it's definitely McCollum at 66. That looks amazing. Bradley Beal against Cleveland looks great at 94. That's a pay up. Mid-range will be McCollum. And then Smart and Brown both look great, both at 5,900. Both are going to be pretty solid options to go to. And then if you want, there's not a ton that I'm thinking about going super cheap at this position. You could take a shot on Trent, but Simons is $900 cheaper. He makes for an easy pivot to get to over Trent. But if you want to be different, that looks fine. And then depending on the status of Payton, you could take a shot on Keenar, Dennis Smith, whoever starts if he's out. But it's impossible not to play CJ McCollum in at least cash games. Without Lillard, the ball is going to go through him. The offense is going to go through CJ McCollum. He should take 20-plus shots. He's already been taking 20 shots a lot of the time, even with Lillard in there. Going to get a lot more assist opportunities. Usage is going to go up. Everything looks great. The price tag is also cheap. I don't know why DraftKings did not adjust for this. I thought over the All-Star break they would become smarter, but they did not. They still priced guys very cheap for no reason. So expect 90+% ownership for CJ McCollum in cash games at least. It's a big slate, so his ownership could be a little bit lower in tournaments, but he should be the chalk of the slate, and it makes a lot of sense. At small forward, I definitely love Tatum over Hayward. Just the matchup is great for Tatum. He's been crushing it, and without Kemba, he gets a huge bump in production. Tatum is one of my favorite plays to pay up for at small forward by far. And then I would say that Brandon Ingram looks good at only 6,800. His production is come down a little bit since Zion's been in there, but he's still been pretty solid and definitely can pay off a $6,800 salary. That is pretty cheap for a guy like Brandon Ingram. He did miss a couple games, but he did play in the All-Star game, so he should be fine to go. He should be good to go. And then Juancho looks good at 4,700 without Cat. He played 38 minutes and he took 18 shots, so he's going to be aggressive out there, getting a lot of minutes at the 4 and 5. So Hernan Gomez looks good as a value play. Ariza looks good as a value play at 45. It's really just going to be trying to jam in as many Celtics and Blazers as I can. And Tatum looks great at 78. Over at power forward, I think definitely would kind of go to Brandon Ingram over Zion just based on the price difference. I like Ingram a lot. 68 is a nice price point on him. He's definitely cheap enough, really cheap. Anthony looks good too at 53. He's scoring dependent, but he will get a lot of shots off today. And that's kind of it at this position. But Brandon Ingram at only 6,800 is going to be a good option. Pretty tough to pass up, or pretty tough to ignore at least. You're getting at least 1,000, a couple $100 decrease. I don't think he's ever been under 7K this year, or at least it's been a while. So we're getting a great price tag on Brandon Ingram. Over at center, Whiteside is priced appropriately at 92, but he still looks fine as a chance to, just because we'll get a little bit more usage. I know it's not going to be a huge difference playing with Lillard and without Lillard in terms of, because he doesn't play the same position, obviously. He's not taking threes or anything like that. But just whoever gets the ball to him, he should still get good looks at the rim, and it's a good matchup for him at 9,200. I think Ibaka looks good at 65. We have no Gasol again. He's at a good price point. It's a great matchup. Definitely looking at Serge Ibaka. And I would say that's kind of it. James Johnson looks good as well at 4,600. That's kind of the main ones that I'm looking at right now at this position. Over at guard here, Luka's at 10.6. I'm not really looking to pay up for him on the road in a matchup against the Magic. Tough defense. I don't think I'll pay up for LeBron either. I kind of just trying to get in as many of the Celtics and, like I mentioned, Celtics and Blazers as I can in the mix and match with some of the other just underpriced players. So over here at guard, another Celtic that I like a lot is Jalen Brown at only 5,900. He has been pretty good on the year as basically a point per minute guy. He was dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury, was definitely in some pain, but he still toughed it out. He sat the last day before the break, but he was still solid. And it's now he should got like 10 days rest. Should be good to go, and he's at a really cheap price point. So definitely Jalen Brown looks great. And I would say over at center, passed over, center initially, but going back on it, I think I'll probably try to get up to pay up for a Whiteside just because I have the salary to do it. I think I feel pretty good about this. Try to get at least 3 Blazers is a pretty good strategy. At least 2 Celtics is definitely a way to go, and then Ingram is just too cheap. And then over on Fanduel here, battery's running out, so I'm going to do this as quick as possible. At point guard here, they at least priced up Simons a little bit. He's at 48, so he's nowhere near as a core play as he is on Draftkings at 3,500. So he is priced appropriately. I still think that he is a good option just because right now there's not a ton at this position that sticks out to me. But I would say that Kyle Lowry also looks pretty good. He's 7,400. He's just been playing really well, playing a lot of minutes. He's had some 50-point games recently. He's pretty solid in the 40s and 50s, occasionally in the 30s. But overall, he's been consistent. He's at home. And as a team, they've been playing great. It's a great matchup against Phoenix. So 74 for Kyle Lowry is definitely a pretty good price point on him for Fanduel. At shooting guard, it's McCollum at 69 is going to be the top overall play. I like him a ton on both sites. I think Van Fleet looks good at 65. And then you got Marcus Smart at 54. That looks great. And then you also have Victor Oladipo, no longer on a minutes limit. He's only at 4,600. That will he will garner some ownership, but he's still been struggling. I think he looks good if he can get there at 46, at least on FanDuel. And then I think that Beasley looks okay as well, just because without Cat, there's so many shots to go around. He played 37 minutes, was solid as well. So those are some of the 5 or 6 guys I'm looking at the position. I would say McCollum is still going to be a core play on both sites. Small forward Ingram isn't as in play for me as he is on DraftKings at his price point. I'm saying that I'm looking at definitely Jalen Brown looks great at 5,700 on this site. Anthony looks great at 4,900. That's just incredibly cheap. Harding Gomez looks great as well in Ariza. Those are the guys I'm looking at. But when you have Jalen Brown at 57 and Hayward at 7K, just give me Jalen Brown every day of the week. At power forward, it's definitely Tatum. It's Zion at 75. That looks good. It's Ibaka. And it's maybe James Johnson at 52. He's priced pretty appropriately. But I'm trying to get up to Tatum, and I think he looks good. 87 is pretty expensive, but he plays really, really good. He's been playing great basketball. We're going to have the value to pay for him, and it's a great matchup against Minnesota. They play fast. They've given up some big scores recently, and they score a ton of points themselves recently, so it should be a fast-paced game, and Tatum looks fine at 8,700, especially at power forward. And then as center, it's Whiteside is going to be the guy at 85. He's just too cheap, really inexpensive on FanDuel. Shouldn't be cheaper than Vucevic, and I just think that he's too cheap given the options. So he's my favorite by far, and it still leaves you 5,700, so plenty to fill it out if you want. But probably some of this will change throughout the day as I do more research and more news comes out on a big slate. But as of now, I'm trying to get in as many Blazers and as many Celtics as I can. So that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You can drop a like if you enjoyed, and good luck today.